Alright gang, I wanted to show you guys how I design an AMPSA, also known as an NTI style night guard here. So it's going to be an upper segmental AMPSA, Anterior Midpoint Stop Appliance. And so we're going to go to Bite Splint, and I'm just going to 3D print it, and I don't change any settings, and I just go canine to canine. I am going to set an opposing, an antagonist, because I am actually going to put this in a articulator, and I'll show you why in just a minute. If you're doing just like a stock appliance, you might not need to, like just a flat plane appliance, you wouldn't necessarily need to, but I'll show you why I'm going to here in just a minute. So then we'll load up our files. And I am going to open these in an articulator. Insert direction, apply. Going to modify scan data yet. Now we're going to re-articulate models virtually, and I'm going to take away the antagonist. I want to go to automatic, and we'll set move these out of the way here. There we go. Patient's left molar, patient's right molar, perform alignment, make sure that looks pretty good. Okay. Alright, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to raise the bite up just a bit here. Basically to where there is not a whole lot, maybe like 1 millimeter of overbite. Almost to about right there. Alright, so I'm opening her up about, I'll go about 2.4 millimeters. So that's about it. Don't need it too much. I'll start our movements. Okay, then we'll hit OK. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to run this canine to canine. And I use Sprintray's flexible night guard material, so I'm okay with going a little bit more and just letting it engage into those undercuts a bit. And that's going to go pretty far on the palette. I want to bring that up a bit. I don't need it quite that far on the palette. There we go. Okay. We'll hit next. And so here I used to try to build it up quite a bit. I don't do that anymore. So I'm just going to see if I can get rid of these. There we go. I want to get rid of these if I can. Great. Okay. All right, so now we're not done yet. I've made basically a simple shell. But to get that anterior midpoint stop appliance and get like a slider bar that I want here, I'm going to go to Freeform Restorations and hit Next. Now what's different about doing this is now you have attachments available. We're going to go to Add. You have this generic. If you go down here, scroll down to show other types, it'll give you more choices. We're going to go to Parametric Design Extrusion. And then it should list these profiles of different attachments you can use. So I'm going to put this archway macro, take a look, see how that looks. And then what we can do is start adjusting the height and the width. Okay? I want to start bringing that down, and I want to make it to where it's just above. There we go. Okay. And now I'm just going to play with this a bit. And so here it's at a bit of a cant here, so I'm going to kind of play around with this and just kind of get it leveled up there. Kind of like sort of so. And so I hope what I'm doing here is making sense, because I'm trying to get this basically right over those two incisors, get that midpoint stop appliance going. All right, and that's looking pretty good. Yeah, that's looking pretty solid. Okay, so now we'll hit apply and make sure it says cut this this box here, cut on bite split bottom. Make sure that's marked. Hit apply. So that way anything on the underside, it gets cut out so it fits around those teeth. There we go. So now it is part of the actual design, and now we can just kind of, if you want to, you can just kind of smooth things out a bit. And I just like to smooth this up so it's not feeling too pointy to the tongue or anything like that. You can add a bit, kind of fill that in, and then you can flatten it back. Just makes it to where, you know, the tongue doesn't want to try to get up under there. And like I said, just kind of smoothing things up to make things nice. And I probably don't need it as far out here as this, but it's nice to have just in case, so that way, because on the protrusion you can see, you don't want her to be able to come out past this. So, and it's easy to trim back is the way that I look at it. And so then in the protrusive, because it is showing, alrighty. So on extreme protrusive, she might be starting to hit on these canines here. That might not be an issue. We'll see. She'd have to protrude pretty far to even start getting those, so I'm not too worried about it. And there we go. We'll save our modifications. And there you go. So that is making this design basically in a nutshell. And once you get used to this, you can get it done in less than 5 minutes. And you have a custom AMPSA appliance. So there you go.